So we've got a individual here. I'm not sure if it's a young man or a young woman, but the question is it bad? I just want money. And they go on to say, is it? All I think about is all my problems will be solved with money. I save money. I make money. I want money. I think about money all day. For me, I feel like since I already don't have anybody around, money is my best friend. Hashtag road to 100K before 18. I'm like, wow, that is a great question, and you caught my attention because I'm about that money too. But I've got a lot of different thoughts and I could go all over the place. I'm going to rely on you, Tom, to keep me corralled and coherent as much as possible. But my initial thoughts are, first, who's to say what's right or what's not in that regard? Money, in and of itself, I don't see as being bad. However, I think that the love of money, above all else, can lead to less than ideal outcomes or behavior. Money is a resource that we trade other resources for, most typically our time. But we could also trade our personal brand, our IP, our assets that we own. There are lots of different ways we can get money. And it's also a tool that can allow us to purchase back our time or secure our freedom. If you amass enough money, you no longer need to trade your time for it. My first question would be, do you think that this is a problem? Is it damaging your relationships? Is it leading you to do illegal or immoral things? Is your love of money the reason you don't have anybody else around? You referenced having no one around, and maybe that's why you love money. Those are some of my initial thoughts, and I can identify with this individual a lot because from a very young age, my mom laughs and she'll even tell stories about it. She remembers driving me to buyers clubs and things like this when I was a teenager, 15, 16 years old, because I was trying to get that money. I had stock accounts. I was investing whatever pennies I had, getting into penny stocks, trying to gain copious amounts of money, even as a young individual.
What drove that for you? Was it based on how you were raised, or what was the motivation?
You know, I can tell you what motivates me now, but I'm not 100% sure that that was the same motivation when I was young. Now it comes very much from that place of wanting to free my time. I spend the vast majority of my time trading my time for money so I can provide for my family, so we can have a place to live. My interest right here, right now, today, to amass money, to gain financial independence, is so that I can stop trading my time for money and that I can spend my time pursuing what I believe to be my life purpose, which really at its core is helping people. And I'd like to think that was the case when I was younger. It may have just been because I wanted money and cool, flashy stuff and nice things. So it's hard for me to say.
Based on what you've told me about your childhood and the way in which you were raised, the home that you lived in, stuff like that, did you see money as a way to not repeat or to be able to escape that lifestyle into something that was more attractive to you?
I don't know. We had a roof over our head and we had food on the table, right? We were better off than some people, worse off than others. I honestly don't know. I'm having a hard time answering that, honestly. Maybe I just saw it at that time at a young age as a way to get the things that I wanted out of life, which I think I've always wanted a nice car, right? From a young age. So when I started driving, I always wanted nice things. I always wanted to be flush with or stocked to the gills with supplements and protein and all those expensive things that as a child who doesn't have a job, you don't really have resources to spend $70 on a jug of protein, right? Or a gym membership or expensive gym equipment or things of that nature. I don't know.
So when you're talking about having a flashy car or getting things, was it out of a desire to, because you didn't go to public school, so it wasn't like you were doing this to try and catch a girl's attention or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. You may not know it, the average person may not know it to look at me, but I like nice things. I wear jeans and t-shirts 24/7. I get it. I don't wear a bunch of jewelry. I used to, but it wasn't 14 karat jewelry. It was rings through my freaking nose and eyebrow and all that. But I like nice things and I have expensive taste, even though that doesn't come across. Maybe part of that came from wanting to satisfy that. But really, to circle back to the initial question, I don't think it's bad. I'd be interested to know your perspective. Again, I think it's, where's that desire come from, and is it causing toxic things in your life, or is it causing you to do things you wish you didn't do, or things that are truly immoral or illegal? And if not, I don't know that you need to feel bad about being motivated by money. We're all motivated by different things. And I'm just really more curious if I could sit across from this individual to find out why. What's your goal? What are you going to do with that? Do you just want to amass money so you can amass assets so you can make more money just to make money because it's a game you enjoy? Well, if you're not leaving a wake of bodies behind you, why is that bad? If that's what you love to do, then go do it and be the best you can.
To me, the root question is why. And that's why I was trying to prod you as to what was it that made that a focal point for you? Because I think we have different approaches to money. I like nice things when they are for a specific reason. But I don't need nice clothes. I just need something to cover my body.
Yeah.
There's certain things that I'll spend money on and some things I won't. And I was raised in a definitely not poor, but frugal family, let's say. But it ultimately comes down to, why is money the obsession? If you're thinking that getting a bunch of money is going to make you happy, you're chasing a phantom, because money will never make you happy.
And you will never have enough.
You'll never have enough. So if that's the reason behind it, I think you need to do a little bit deeper soul searching and figure out what is the motivation. Listen to any number of celebrity podcasts, you'll hear plenty of people who are talking about they wanted to get rich so that they could escape their upbringing, whether it was abusive situation or just a poor situation. And they thought that once I got to a certain level, those problems would be gone. And what they realized is they got to that certain level, they got that money, they had everything they thought they wanted, and those problems persisted. And you cannot outrun your problems by getting money. That's not the answer. So if your end game is to make yourself feel better about yourself, about your situation, or escape from something that you feel is a shortcoming or a challenge in your life, money's not going to solve that for you.
Yeah, it's like a whole, what would you call it? An arrival fallacy, right? When I do this, when I have this, I have arrived. And what people most often find or report, I've read this many times, is that they achieved the goal, they stacked the cash, they did whatever, and they were just as empty and dead inside as they were when they were pursuing this goal.
Yeah, because if that's your end goal is X amount of money, all right, let's say you get, what was it, 100K by 18 or whatever,
before
right?
18, yeah.
All right, so you get there.
Then what?
Exactly. Now what? I've dedicated all this time, resources, whatever, and you look around and you say, all right, now what? I don't have friends. Who am I going to share this with? By myself? It's a very lonely place to be.
Yeah.
But what's next? What did you give up your childhood for? If you don't have a specific goal in mind, a specific reason for it, and even if you have a specific reason, if that reason is not going to advance you as a person, and if it's not going to support what you want to do next, you're going to be lost. You're going to find yourself in a very lonely, lost place, and you're going to be asking this same question. Is it 1 million by 25? You're going to run into the same thing again.
Yeah. I would love to talk to this person, because it's like, why? I'll just throw some hypotheticals out there. Maybe they're going to be the first to go to college from their family, and their family can't pay for it. And that $100,000 means full ride to college. Everything's covered, right? Oh, I get that. And guess what? Oh yeah, I want to be a surgeon, and I want to give of my time and fix cleft palates in third world countries or something. That's beautiful. That's awesome. Pursue it. Go get that money, get to college, make it happen. But if that's why you're fixated on stacking cash, that's different than being fixated on stacking cash just to stack cash.
Yeah, and let's say you win the lottery and you do have 100 million by the time you're 18, right? All right, so you don't have to get a job. You don't have to do anything. Who are your friends? And the people who become your friends, are they there because they truly love and care about you as a person? Or are they there to ride your coattails and not have to do anything, become lazy bums and leech off of you for the rest of their lives? If you have a bunch of money and you're around people that don't, and those are the friends you have because you're just at that point taking whoever is knocking on your door, you're not really going to have friends. You're not going to have any relationships. You're going to lose a lot of the things that as humans make us human, which is that true connection. And you can't truly relate or connect to somebody who has that much less than you, because the power dynamic that money does provide in many cases offsets that. You're always going to be the head honcho. And that might sound cool, but man, there's a lot of times where I don't want to be the one making the call, making the decision. I want to just be in a group of my peers and be going through life together on the same playing field. That makes it so much more enjoyable, ups and downs, to be going through it with someone next to you as an equal.
This was just a brief question, but there's a lot there, and there could be so much more. I don't know. I love it. I love money, but it's a game, right? And it allows you to do things. And Some people have cracked this code, others have not. And, if you're fixated on cracking the code, that's different than being fixated on the money. It's a game. It is, and it's very interesting, and I love reading about how different people did different things from different backgrounds and what they then did with their success as it relates to money or cracking that code. And I just find it so interesting.
Yeah, but part of the problem is we only really hear about the people who've had that success. You hear the winning stories a lot.
I've heard a lot of losing stories. I think if you look, they're there, but they're not headlines.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
So if you're not looking for it, all you see is the winners. So let's go back to your situation. Your mom's driving you around all these buyers clubs. You're doing this and that, pyramid scheme after pyramid scheme.
Yeah, buddy, all of it. Make my empire.
So how did that work out for you? Do you have any success stories, or is it all just like...
I've got a lot of funny stories. Now, I'm obviously not a millionaire or anything. The outcomes have been this. I've made a little bit of money from this over the years. I don't have a massive bank account because of it. I've learned a lot. I know a lot more than most of my peers about investing, how things like different options work and different option strategies you can employ and different things you can do to mitigate risk when investing in the stock market. I've got a fair amount of experience investing in cryptocurrency, more L's than W's, but it's experience and perspective. And I know how some of those things work where a lot of my peers don't because they just haven't done it. Has it dramatically changed my financial circumstances? No, not yet.
That's the catch though, right?
Yeah.
So what's next?
Yeah.
It's like pulling the slot machine. I lost $50,000 over the course of this year, but hey, one pull of that lever and I'll be right back in it.
No, I wouldn't go that far if you broach it from the learning perspective, because I think I've certainly risked money doing this. I've never risked anything I couldn't afford to lose.
That's a key.
Yeah.
That's a very important key.
Absolutely. And real quick, this is not financial advice. We are not financial advisors. We are not fiduciaries. We don't claim to be. Again, we're sharing perspective and experience. But yeah, I was very intentional about making smart financial decisions with whatever resources I had at any given time. If I had debt, I wanted to pay that debt down. I wanted to snowball it and get rid of it as fast as I could. Okay, once we've accomplished that, I need to squirrel away some money, emergency fund. You need $1,000, worst case scenario. Fix what breaks on your car, anything like that. Then you need to start building an emergency fund. Then you start pursuing investments at that point. Before you do anything speculative, you probably should be maxing out your IRA, company contributions, all these things. There's a method to the madness. You do the smart things first. You don't take undue risk. And then if you want to get into risky or speculative investing, then you do that with money that you can afford to say goodbye to. So am I going to go blow $1,000 on a wardrobe I don't really need, but I like and it's nice? No, I'm probably going to put that into a speculative investment. It's gone either way. The new jeans and shirts and jackets aren't going to really change my life, but I'm going to learn something and this investment might pan out. Or it might not.
I think that's the most important thing is what you laid out there. And to sum it back up is make sure that you have yourself covered in terms of savings for a basic level, 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses. You've got that safety fund. You're funding your retirement that's untouchable to you. And then whatever you make on top, the gravy, you can play with however you see fit. I think that's all great and sound advice. But when we're talking to someone who's in high school and you don't have an IRA or 401k yet, what types of opportunities are truly there for you that are potentially lucrative that don't come with strings attached or are a pyramid scheme of some type?
Yeah. So the advice I would give my 16-year-old self, I would say first and foremost, put all the investing, all that aside, the get rich quick, grabbing
There's no
20
such
bucks.
thing as a get
There
rich
is no
quick.
such thing. Even if you're dropping money on the lottery hoping. It happens, it's few and far between. The likelihood that it's going to happen to you is slim to none at best. Get as many opportunities to make money as possible. Don't worry about spending all your time researching investing. Get a source of income and stack cash so you've got something you can actually do with. Find somebody that can mentor you, that has done what you want to do and can give you guidance and advice. You have so many benefits if you're 16, 17, 18 years old. I'm going to assume this may not be true for everybody, but you probably don't have rent. You're probably not on your own. You probably have your basic needs covered. Yeah, you can spend your time gathering money to blow, to buy a car, to go out partying, drinking, eating, whatever your thing is. But if this is what you want to do, this can set you up on a path for success.
And if you're interested in finance and it's not just about getting money by any means necessary, if you've got the time, and one of the best investments you can make is spend a couple $100 and enroll yourself in a business course at a community college.
Absolutely.
You can do that before you graduate high school. Put yourself on the right footing to learn the market, to learn how things work. Because most people that say, oh, I'm going to play the stock market, do not have the experience, do not understand how it works to be successful in it. So if you are truly interested in stacking cash and making it a part of your life's work to amass a great amount of money, learn how to do it correctly. And there are ways to do that very easily that are accessible to you. They're not as attractive because it requires you to work and put in some effort to learn. But if that's your end goal, that is what you need to pursue.
Yeah, and that's exactly where I was going with that. Thank you. So get the jobs, stack the cash, find a mentor, and then invest in the things that are going to teach you how to do what you want to do. And it could be as simple as spending $12. Hell, spend $4. Get the Kindle version or get a used version of Rich Dad Poor Dad off of Amazon. Read that. There are valuable tips that'll send you, the next step. What do I need to investigate next? What do I need to learn? What should I search online? How do I figure out how to do this? How do I identify a mentor? How do I identify a group that is mentoring people? There's groups all over the place. You can get on Facebook and you can get the education you need, but use the money to pursue the education. Once you have the education, then you can use that, you can leverage that to make the money that you're going to use to make a difference in the world or for whatever your purpose is.
Yeah, I think there's a reason that the adage, you got to spend money to make money is a thing.
Yeah.
And in this case, the spending of the money is investing in the resources, the books, the time, all of that to put yourself on solid footing to make those smart financial decisions that will reap big dividends in the end.
Yeah, and it doesn't take a lot to get that education, to get those educational resources, books, whatever. It just takes time and effort.
Another side of this is, I'm not someone who really, I'm not going to say I don't like money because of course I like money, but to me, my time is more valuable. Mm-hmm. And you started this conversation off by saying that the majority of people, when you talk about getting a job, what you're really talking about is how much money is someone going to pay me for my time? That's what it is. Time is what you trade for money when you have a job, regardless of what you're doing. Mm-hmm. So you want to get $16 an hour for your time, or do you want to make $100, $600, maybe $1,000 an hour for your time? It all comes down to what skills do you have that are transferable. At the end of the day, we have good jobs. Could we be making more money at another job? I know I could.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And what we have opted for is that we would rather have more time and more freedom to do with our time what we want than we are interested in the money that someone would pay us for more of that time. I can say that's true. For me, I would rather have time at home every night with my dogs and my wife to do what I want to do, to work on side projects like this, than to be working more hours per week for a fatter paycheck, because to me, the trade-off is not worth it. So you really also have to evaluate what is more important to you. Is your time more valuable to you? Do you have things that you would rather be doing with your time than the amount of money you're going to get in return? And so what Will's talking about is being smart enough that when you set it up, you can get that money without committing time. An investment in an IRA or a retirement account is it's a great instrument to make that happen, because that money's working and earning money on the interest.
Is it going to free you when you're 25? No, but it's a smart thing to do. The other thing too is the ultimate goal is to have assets that produce income without you doing anything. And whether you build and scale and sell a business to do that, or you have assets that produce passive income, investments, dividends, properties, real estate, for example, that is the ultimate goal. And then you have your time to do what fulfills you. What's crazy is we all start out, and this is the advice we're given. And I would love to master this topic so that I could give really valuable advice to younger people, because what is it? Oh, well, go to school, get a good education. Once you get a good education, get a secondary education, or not, go to a trade school, whatever. There's some sort of secondary approach, and then get a good paying job. Okay, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to get a better job, and I'm going to educate myself, and I'm going to develop myself, and I'm going to get a better job, and I'm going to get more money, and I might have to work more, but I'm going to do this. And that's what we're after. Oh, yeah, I want to trade my time for money. But at some point in our lives, we start getting the money, but we're running out of time. And that's the point at which you've spent half your life. Maybe I'm getting ready to turn 40, you're in your 40s. Conceivably, we have spent half of our lives, right? And we've traded our time for money. And our time isn't fully our own right now because of the lifestyles we have or we want or what we're involved in. And the focus shifts to, okay, I need money, but I'm running out of time. Time is more finite than money. You can make more money. It might not be easy. You might have to learn a new skill, but you can always go get more money. You can't go get more time.
Don't put your life on hold for this. It's definitely not worth it.
You can pursue it without putting your life on hold. Revel in being young. All the things that brings, the goods, the bads, the stress, the struggle, the joy, and pursue your goals, but you don't have to put your life on hold for this.
And also be careful of, well, not necessarily be careful, but be cognizant of who you're looking at as a role model. I think one of the greatest examples, and I'm not putting politics in this in any way, but Donald Trump, all right? So in the 2016 election, the run-up to the election, he was making a big deal about, I started this business with a small loan from my dad of $1 million. Of course, for most average Americans, to think of $1 million as a small loan is ridiculous to start with. But then he's using this as an example as how he built this huge empire. But if you look at it realistically, I read this article, someone pointed out, yeah, I mean, you kind of did all this stuff and here's your worth. But if you had just taken that $1 million and simply put it in a mutual fund, you would have way more money just having it in the mutual fund, having done nothing, than all of the other stuff you've done. So that is an example of how the power of money and compounding interest can create more money for you than working your ass off and doing all these other things. So as soon as you do have an opportunity to start putting money away in some kind of a retirement account that's just a mutual fund, which is basically fractions of hundreds of stocks that you own part of. And that will accumulate because it grows with the market, which on average is what? How much per year?
10%. If you look at it over, say, the past 30 years or something.
Yeah, so regardless of ups and downs, that's the average. And you're going to get a great return. So don't think that you also have to be a great, brilliant stock trader to make money in the market. And if your employer offers you an opportunity to match even 3%, 5%, whatever you have to do, max out the matching contribution at any job that you get and start that young, because all of that will compound. And think about it. What's 10% of $100? $10, right? Mm-hmm. What's 10% of $100,000? 10 grand?
Yep.
Look at me doing fast
I know,
math.
Math in the
I'm
brain.
looking at you like, I know I'm fucking this up.
But no, you got it.
But that's it, right? So year over year, by the time you get to 100 grand, you're making 10 grand instead of the $10 that you were making. That's what compounding interest will do for you over time, and that's how it moves so much faster as it grows, it snowballs. Again, it's not about, I have to play the stock market, I got to pick the hottest stocks. You can grow a very nice retirement account or just put yourself in a situation where you're not going to have to trade your time for money forever if you start young and let that snowball start growing earlier. That's point number one. Point number two, do you have a list of books or resources that you have found particularly valuable?
Yeah, absolutely.
I would love to have you put together that list, and I will put that in the description of this episode. If you click on that, you'll see Will's list of recommended books that he's found particularly helpful if you want to get a jump start on a reading list.
Yeah, absolutely. I can put that together. I love personal and professional development. The only time I choose to read is if it's self-improvement, if it's business related, if it's finance related, if it's gaining personal financial freedom, all those things. It's just interesting.
He's a great resource for that. I, on the other hand, no interest, don't care. I put a little bit of money in my retirement account and hope it grows. But again, I value my time, and to me, spending time reading that type of literature is boring and also a waste of my time.
Yeah, that's super interesting because
it's perspective.
Yeah, it is, because I value my time and I so desperately want to free up my time so I can pursue what I believe will fulfill me, my life's purpose. And that, educating myself, doing that reading, learning how to master money is how I do that. And that's why I'm like, yeah, I love talking about it. I love thinking about it. I love learning. I don't know shit. That's why I don't give financial advice, but it interests me.
I think it's interesting also the term mastering money. That in itself is a good thing, but you have to be very careful that money doesn't become your master.
Absolutely. So I'll say I love money, but I don't care about money. Money doesn't matter to me. It's a resource and I appreciate what I can do with it. And so it excites me. You mean I could not have to trade 40 plus hours a week to get money? I could do something like this. I could help people. I could spend my time giving back freely without having to worry about, am I going to pay my mortgage? Can I put food on the table for my kids to eat? No, I can go and help and do good. That's why it draws me in, because it's a tool that will allow me to do that.
I totally agree with you. I get that. I just have a different level of passion for pursuing how to make it faster.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But I also have fewer responsibilities. No kids to feed, for example. To wrap it all up, I would say the high points are you have to understand why you are doing what you're doing. Why is this so important to you? You're not going to be able to outrun your problems with money. It's not going to work. So if that's your purpose, think about something else. If your purpose in getting a bunch of money is to free your time for the future to pursue something you're very passionate about that may not be particularly lucrative, that's a worthwhile endeavor. But I think the key to that, as Will's talked about, is having the education, the mentorship to establish a firm foundation and to do it the right way and build it with as little risk to yourself as possible. Anything to add to that?
No, I think that sums it up well. Money is not always going to solve your problems. I think everybody's heard the famous phrase, mo money, mo problems. But no, I think you capped it off nicely.
And to tack onto that, when you have more money, you don't have less problems, right? So Warren Buffett has problems, just like me and Will have problems, just like you have problems. We just have different problems.
Yeah.
So,
and different resources to deal with it. We have more youth. We have more of our life ahead of us, hopefully, than he has ahead of him. And that's the resources we're currently working with. He's got a massive net worth and piles of cash. And those are the resources he's working with. But he spent a lifetime building it.
Doesn't mean he doesn't have problems.
That's right.
So, yeah, man, tackle your problems first. Figure that out. Get to the root of that. And then decide how you want to spend the rest of your life and figure out the best path forward to financially secure your future.
Absolutely not financial advice. We are not financial advisors or fiduciaries, but love talking about it.
To circle all the way back, you're right. Is it wrong? Not necessarily. It just depends on what your end game is and what you're hoping to get out of it.
You know if it feels wrong or not. Trust your gut. If you have any questions, reach out, find a mentor, ask, learn, grow, develop. Have fun, man. This is life. It's not meant to be all-consuming, focused on money. Do what makes you happy, and you'll know if it's wrong, right, or other.
Sounds good, man. I think that episode was money.
Good stuff today, Tom. As you can tell, I'm highly engaged. I love talking fitness. I love talking pumps, baby. I love talking about money, even though I don't know anything. This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Tom certainly isn't a financial advisor or a fiduciary. We just like talking about all the shit here on All the Shit with Tom and Will. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate your time. Have any questions or comments? Leave them below. Smash the like, subscribe, turn notifications on. Love you, fam.
Get the fuck out of here.
Come on, that was good. Maybe keep it for the bloopers. I don't know what was up with that.